seen in the water column.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, and he showed one of the stereo visions of it zoomed way in, and it looked like a Space Invader to me. It was just some pixels, but they were able to determine that they were in the spawn.
Yeah, I guess the trick is to get the focus right, or the distance away right, because there's the trick. Yeah, often they use like a sheet kind of laser thing. So you got a camera, and then you got two lights that are shining across to each other, and then something will trigger, have a motion detector, and it'll trigger. There's something in that small area, and the light comes on, and you take a picture of it, and then you get like a really good shot of that at the right focal distance from the camera, and the sizes are correct then too, because the distance away, and they can match it to they just do the Euclidean distance actually. So you basically just compare the two pictures of this thing. And
yeah, pretty cool tech.
Yeah, and then you can count them, and then basically you can even get like a density or an abundance with depth of certain creatures. So we got multiple plots similar to like a CTD plot, except it's like copepods or something.
Yeah, maybe that's what they were. I can't remember the actual. I was more focused on the tech, what they were doing. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
The reason we're coming up a little bit faster is we're trying to do a quick turnaround with the vehicle and get back in at Endeavour.
Yeah, I think I haven't looked. Maybe Kim might know what the distance to Endeavour. I remember 40 kilometers, or I think
it's 55 from here.
55 Ks.
No, nautical miles.
Okay, so I'm way off. It's far.
Is Endeavour our next place?
Endeavour is our next place, but there's been an update as of 7:19 or so that we're going to do a very quick double dive there and then run from the weather.
So for those of you online, Endeavour is our hydrothermal vent site, so we're all really excited about that, or at least I am.
Do we know what's happening on the double dive? Is that photogrammetric?
No.
Okay. So more time for me to prepare then.
Yeah, it's a combination of two things. There's a relief of that you got more time to prepare, but then soon the concern will be if it's a week of downtime.
Yeah. So how much time will we have left?
The other.
I know what we're doing on the next two dives. We're deploying stuff and picking up stuff.
Plugging stuff in.
We're basically to run through it, I guess, is we're placing a beacon on the seafloor so that we can lower the tool basket down and then unpack the tool basket. So the two dives will be put the beacon down, lower the tool basket, get the stuff out of the tool basket, and by that time, it's going to be Monday afternoon, and Monday afternoon the wind is above 20 knots. And seas are building. So the idea is to go in shore somewhere, and where it isn't as lumpy as it was out here.
Yeah. That one night that we had that was extraordinarily bumpy, I almost fell off the top bunk.
Yeah, it was.
It was likely expect another one of those. The ride back from Endeavour is usually
in the trough.
Pretty exciting.
Oh boy.
In the trough, and yeah, it's a northwesterly. So, and we have to go whatever the 90 degrees out of north of the westerly is. We got to go west. Yeah, we got to go east, southeast. No, northeast. We got to go northeast. So we may go into Juan de Fuca Strait and hide in there.
That's the rumor. Hide in international waters in the strait.
Yeah. I still don't have it. I still don't know where the pilotage areas are, or otherwise we could go to there and try to do some CTD casts.
Hello.
So Steve, is there any reason why the 10 meters a minute is set up for a transect? Is like that like the magic number, or is that just like a speed that they've defined for transects?
Well, yeah, well, I think Jamstack was looking at, our colleagues of Fabio at Jamstack were looking at the data for this. They were interested in it. And they found that 10 meters, you go much faster than that, you can't focus.
Okay.
It's too hard
the
to
ability
do.
To focus?
Yeah, too hard to do. And so it's not really, so we were going a little bit too fast before. They found it too hard to work with. And they figured 10 meter, if it's kind of like a trade-off. If you went slower, be better. So I was kind of happy with the 6 meters per minute.
Yeah.
And then we lost some weight. But
and we got even faster.
It got faster, then we somehow got faster for another reason.
Ooh, there's a comb jelly? No, or just regular jelly.
It's an interesting jelly. There's no doubt about that.
It's a gelatinous mass of some sort.
But you can see that one real nicely.
It's like we've got a shift change coming in. Everyone's coming in to let us go to breakfast. Hey.
Blue water crew is on board. Yes. Blue water crew is a cool water crew. You'll be hearing our wonderful voices as we make our remaining ascent back on deck.
Videos on comms. Set 1, set 2, set 3, Rook 1, 2, 3, 4. Timer set. That makes it easier.
How's our blue water crew doing this morning? Everybody feeling hyped and energized?
Great,
Sunday,
yeah,
Is
ready
that
for
us?
a recovery.
Is that us?
Sunday
Yeah.
fun day?
Is that us? Okay.
See, now look, you went
We're all
and
good.
you woke Ollie. See what you did?
What am I supposed to do something?
Yeah.
Newcastle 2, West Ham 4.
Which league?
Oh, you can. Oh, it's Taylor score again?
Score.
Yeah.
Soccer.
But no, for
Soccer.
Newcastle.
Yeah, no,
Newcastle.
no. It's the
Oh.
English Premiership starts today. So.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
That's right. Who's your squad?
My team is Chelsea.
Oh, you're a Chelsea fan, huh?
I am indeed, and they won 3-0 yesterday.
Nice.
Ollie,
Very-
have you seen this program, Ted Lasso?
No.
No? Oh, it's brilliant.
Ted Lasso.
It's about an American college football coach, soccer coach, who goes to become coach of a team that's about to get demoted.
Oh, okay.
And it's quite good.
I think I've heard about it. What is it called? What's it
Ted
Ted Lasso, American
Ted Lasso.
football coach, goes to coach football in the UK,
Yeah.
and he doesn't know anything about the sport.
You think he doesn't, but he's got these Jedi mind tricks that he does, and it's super kind and heartwarming. And
Opposite of practically anything on TV or
Yeah.
whatever that you want to call it.
yeah, it's really great.
So actually, it works. You wouldn't think it works. Sounds kind of like a horrible idea. An American
Oh.
football coach going to teach
That actually
soccer
sounds
players.
pretty comedic. I'd actually want to
Yeah.
watch that.
But it's actually quite surprisingly nicely done. I don't know how they pulled that off. It doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah,
Doesn't make any sense that it works.
works quite well.
Because you describe it and it doesn't.
Yeah.
There.
Hey, Ed, I need to write this one down in my notebook because we get this question quite a bit, and I know you've answered it before.
Happy
But,
to answer it again.
What's the total power running to Herc?
Wow, that's a great question. Let me tell you everything I don't know about that. The amount of power running the Herc, that's what I don't know. I can guess. I'm going to say is 480 volt, 3-leg power, but there's more numbers that you need to really inform that because Ohm's law. So I'm going to defer to our ROV pilots, who hopefully have an answer.
Ollie.
Maybe Greg does.
I always correct this. You know what, they want to know the horsepower of isn't it? Isn't that what they want? They don't care
Right.
about that.
Well, that's how you
hotel.
No, I know our folks tuning in at home are very technical. They want to know the details. They want to know exactly what power, amperage. They want to know everything. Yeah.
How fast can it go?
I think Greg's the best person.
I think
to
that's a
answer
Greg
that
thing.
one. Yeah, definitely.
I did hear Greg answer that exactly.
Yesterday, same time.
I'm going to turn Greg off.
Same place.
No, kidding.
It is 3-phase. I know that. I remember that.
We're here
And
all
it's
month
AC.
answering the same question every day.
That's me. I keep typing it in every
There you go. I'd buy that.
I could.
Well, you like the long prank, right? You know.
Yeah.
It's the slow burn. So to answer the question, we are running 480 volts to a transformer. It's 3-phase. Then that transformer steps it up to 2,700, and that is what we send through the 7 kilometers of cable down to Argus, which has 2 transformers, one for each of 2 of the phases, and then the last transformer is on Herc. We do also send the full 3-phase 2,700 voltage to Hercules, because that's what runs the motor, which runs the hydraulic pump for the vehicle.
Okay.
which is quite loud.
Yeah, after
So
the...
We'll just answer the hydrophone question at the same time.
yeah.
But he asked for the power, so now we need to have the amperage, don't we?
So at the moment, we have
And we're cranked too now.
about 43 amps per leg
43 amps per leg.
At which voltage?
at the 480.
Okay.
Okay, who's doing the multiplication? No one.
So how many houses could that power? 4. I didn't bring any singles, did you?
43 amps at 480 volts. That seems awful high. That seems like the main engine.
Main engine's smaller than the 3 generators, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Have you been down there since we replaced the engine, Chris?
I haven't, no.
Well, you could park a Mini Cooper down there, no problem.
Yeah, plenty of room now, huh?
Right at the bottom of that ladder.
Yeah.
How do you get the Mini Cooper down the ladder?
So that's
So we
about
created more space after replacing the engine?
So that's about right. It's like 21 kilowatts. So that's what's that? That's about 30 horsepower, isn't it? I don't know kilowatts to horsepower.
That I don't know.
It's a little close. It's same
Kilowatts
except
to horsepower?
Yeah.
Well, that's
I love it whenever Chris
assuming-
says that I don't know. It sounds like he's disappointed in himself,
But no, so it's
even
right-
though it's like a really obscure conversion.
Hey. Yeah, it's 28 horsepower. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, so that's
One kilowatt is 1.34 mechanical horsepower.
Okay.
Yeah, 28 horsepower. I'd believe it, I guess.
Yeah, it's right on.
And how much of that is it lost in the winch drum?
That I don't know.
So this is already down to the Herc.
Oh, is this measured at Herc?
No,
Or
that's
to
measured.
Herc.
That's measured in
So-
the
on the send side.
yeah send side. That's in the wet lab.
Oh, okay, it's not the 480 transformed the second or third time.
We've yet to send anybody down with a multimeter.
So we're not using full power on the way. We got to flap the arms around to get a little higher amperage.
We're using a lot of thrust. Like we're using...
Yeah, we're just at the point at the limit of the pump, really. If we use more flow, we're going to drop pressure significantly.
So you're basically you're drawing the 28 horsepower from the surface, so you're losing some, but it's not that much. Maybe you're exerting 25 horsepower, and the engine's rated at 30 at some speed, some torque level. I don't know how these engines are rated.
I do know the over the last 5-6 years, when I've seen an ROV I work with get new thrusters, they're interestingly enough typically physically smaller.
The thrusters get smaller?
Yeah, but maybe they're just more efficient or higher RPM. I don't know.
I know that the electric thrusters have gotten a lot more efficient.
Yeah.
I know that also with hydraulics, with some of the work that's been done on the actual, like the fins, the angle, the shape, and then the, what's the shield?
Cowling.
Yeah. That you can really increase your efficiency per rotation.
Yeah, I'm looking at our specs, our propulsion specs. So 6 hydraulic thrusters powered by 15 kilowatt, 20 horsepower, 207 bar hydraulic system.
Could be.
So for those just tuning in, we are making a nice ascent back on deck after another long but successful mission. I'm assuming we accomplished everything that we needed there on the seafloor, right? No hiccups. No, visibility was quite a problem yesterday. We had some issues dredging last night, but we powered through. And we got our seismometer in place, our glass beads in place. I wish I could have actually been there to watch the filling of those glass beads. That was kind of interesting. I do want to actually check those out when we go on the deck later. I want to see what those beads look like.
I'm sensing a video coming up.
Oh, you know me too well.
Yeah.
What's really fun about those glass beads is we fill up those bags, or I don't personally, but when they get filled up, a lot spill a lot of the time, and they are so fine that they are unbelievably slippery after. So you can't see it, but your whole area is slippery.
We're talking about not bringing them in here.
The maple syrup seeds?
Maple syrup seeds,
oh,
yeah.
yes. Well, that's a cover story, yeah.
I think that's my biggest complaint about being on a 12-hour watch while everybody else isn't, is that the watch jokes, like I have to be aware of which watch I'm sitting with at the moment as to which watch jokes
you'll say something
they'll
and
get.
you'll
Yeah.
look foolish.
Right. And I'm really concerned about looking foolish in front of others.
So now nobody laugh at any of Greg's jokes, even if you get up.
Just dead silence. Can we get a cricket sound effect? Just some crickets.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah,
good.
do you have any sound effects you can, like, do you have a soundboard you can add into?
Ian's been
that'd
asking
be
for
awesome.
one.
Do you
need
know
like a
about
little
the
sampler.
soundboard?
No, I do not know about
We've
the
been
soundboard.
tasked for another client of my firm to come up with a soundboard.
Oh,
for
awesome.
mission.
For that specific, that'd be awesome.
nice.
Yeah.
I want the air horn.
Like literally, we just have right here. It should be right here on our buttons, and we should just be able to press whatever sound effect that we want.
Crowd goes
Have a little
wild as
sampler
well,
system
yeah.
and just like a little.
Yeah, I even went out and found the software and everything. So
Yeah.
it's a work in progress.
Nice.
Oh, I am very happy to hear.
Yeah, you drop
Yes.
the sample in the box, you get the crowd going wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just as long as I can, like, force unlisten to it.
You
Right.
drop it in the sediment and then you just get denied.
And you need one of those just iconic, prolonged goal.
Yeah.
Well, you guys
you
are
get
terrible at your you know, like sticking to your guns. People are already laughing at my jokes. What happened to the crickets?
Right.
I had high
Coming on
hopes.
the soundboard.
If I was telling jokes, everybody else would be quiet.
I think Tammy and I were taking videos of something going off the Tully last year, and they were huge concrete blocks, and they were making massive splashes. And I wanted to edit the video to just when it hit the water, just make it sound like a single drop of water. Bloop.
Boop. Well, we got like 6 weeks before you guys are out again, right? No, 5 weeks.
Yeah, yeah. I expect to hear a soundboard.
He's on it.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be in port on wrapping this up on 2 September, and then ONC departs again on 22 September. Non-stop observatory maintenance. How many instruments did Kate say were down on the entire ONC? No, I mean, it was like like 8,000 or something.
I don't know.
A crazy amount.
There's a question from home. What is the deepest dive we've done this year?
This year? 2,500 meters?
This is
yeah, we did it.
We did
2620.
Yeah.
2620.
This was 2660.
This was 2660. This dive.
Okay. There you go.
Okay, so this dive was
the
it.
Expected depth, according to the board.
This dive was it. 2620 meters. Down to the deep end.
And the Cascadia fetches, this dive and the other, those fetches, the autonomous ones?
Yes.
Those were the deep, basically we're on that abyssal plain, the Cascadia Basin, and that's the deepest place we go.
Deeper than Endeavor? So when we go in that deep, when we get to Endeavor?
Endeavor,
yeah,
you go up.
2,200 or something like
you
that.
go up. There's a ridge there, so it's a...
Oh, yeah, because you got, that makes sense, yeah.
Endeavor Ridge.
So Juan de Fuca Ridge basically makes that border of this plate. The Cascadia Basin is the way you look at it from, I guess, from the oceanographic point, and from a geological point, it's the Juan de Fuca tectonic plate. And it slopes slightly downwards to the south. So it's deeper at the south, and then there's a big giant fault there, which eventually turns into the St. Andrews Fault.
Yeah, St. Andrews Fault.
Oh, man.
That was a great movie, by the way.
Just about to crest 1,000 meters.
Huh?
We're almost to 1,000 meters to the surface.
Okay. It's a little hour and a half.
So there must have been some really interesting discussions on the last watch, because I was looking through the tabs open on my computer, and there's one about lamprey pie.
Lamprey
yes.
pie?
Apparently it's a British specialty. Ollie was raving about it.
Like the actual...
I have no idea
like
what
the
it
actual
is.
animal lamprey in a pie?
I have no idea what it is.
It's a pie made out of lamprey.
Well, I don't even know what a lamprey is, so...
It's related to a hagfish.
But they've got more teeth.
Yeah, but if you've seen the teeth of the lamprey, pretty intense. It's literally
It
an
looks like
alien.
a horror film.
And people put that in a pie.
Probably
no,
not the teeth.
No, British people put that in a pie.
Told you
That's the last organism I'd ever want in a pie.
Oh, I guess they do. An extensive
In Canada, they're called an invasive
the
species.
nobility of the 7 kingdoms. Oh, wow. Gross.
What was the nobility of the 7 kingdoms? Is
Lamprey pie.
Lamprey pie. Oh, it's one of them things. Gross. Really?
Yeah, who would ever thought to put that in a
disgusting.
pie?
They're your people.
I would have to be quite hungry to eat something as ugly as that.
That's not a no, though.
You never know. Never say never, right?
Meat pie made from eel-like fish known as lampreys, baked in a syrup of wine and spices and covered with large...
I mean, a syrup of wine and spices sounds like you could put anything in it.
Yeah,
well,
I mean, you have to
swap
cover it
out
up.
the fish for something else, and I'm in.
Cardboard. Done.
Yeah, I'm in.
No problem.
Yeah. I'm always a sucker for any entree that's got a bunch of descriptive words in it. This is a, you know, I don't know, breadcrumb encrusted, roasted,
sold
flank of rock. And I'm like, that sounds good. You know, the vinaigrette.
Never tried rock.
Yeah.
What other tabs were open? Now I'm curious.
Well, there would have been a few things about hagfish, I believe, and
Oh, that must have been...
the use of the slime, and
Same.
that's where the lamprey got into it somehow. I don't know. Brethren to the hagfish.
This is how Samantha and I used to start watches, was going through the SCF tabs.
Oh, that's
seeing
smart.
What they had been Googling.
Yeah, I've only got that one tab.
Yeah.
Before that, there was weird seafood dishes from around the world was Googled. Yeah,
See if
clearly.
there's anything over here.
No, we were somehow, because it seems to happen every blue water watch, they were talking about the accident with the hagfish.
Oh,
in Oregon,
you
101.
know. Yeah, blue water watch.
Yeah, that
Talk
does
101.
come out a lot.
And that led to discussions about hagfish, which led to lamprey pie.
And here we are, still
Yep.
talking about it.
That's an interesting turn because hagfish normally leads to tamburi. So a pilot who is so disgusted by them will like leave the control van if you're collecting them.
Actually, it was kind of interesting. Dan was saying that he worked with a group that was investigating using hagfish slime as a lubricant for geological drilling to get core samples because it's biodegradable.
Yeah, they're also investigating using it as a super strong fiber to make biodegradable clothing with.
Biodegradable clothing.
Yeah,
I guess a lot of it's biodegradable, but almost just another novel fabric. Like
biodegradable clothing.
Hope
yeah,
it doesn't
cotton,
rain.
silk. Yeah, just enough.
So
slime
many
dripping.
jokes.
Just write themselves.
They write themselves.
I forget what company it was. They expected by the turn of the century that people were going to be wearing disposable clothing, and they expected it would be made most likely out of cellulose or a tree product, so they invested in forest land, and it turned out to be one of the company's best investments, like long-term investments, but for all the wrong reasons.
Now wait a minute, I've seen you use disposable clothes before. You used to do 12-pack of the Hanes shirts or whatever.
Yeah, because they're comfortable, and anything that's a ship clothing is not meant for anywhere else in the world.
Would just leave them behind as rags when he left.
Yeah, and everybody loved it.
Yeah.
It's a question for our pilots. If we had some ROVs that were rated to go 10,000 plus meters, would you be interested in checking out Challenger Deep?
Would you want to do a dive to Challenger Deep in the Marianas to 10,000 meters?
Is that interesting?
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean,
I was surprised that there was such
once you got
silence.
to the bottom.
Yeah, they're thinking about it. They're like,
Challenger Deep.
But there's not much science or anything. I mean, I've seen the footage from several missions there, and it's...
Yeah, but then you could say you'd been to Challenger Deep.
Oh, but not
I've
really.
been above it.
You've been above it.
Technically, you haven't, have you?
Yeah.
Nah, not as cool.
Challenger Deep. What's that? I don't even know what that is.
That's interesting, that Challenger Deep. I'm looking here at the map. So that's off the shores of Philippines, Indonesia area. It's pretty actually not that far off from shore. Pretty deep trench. That's amazing. I was thinking it was deeper out into the ocean.
Well, I'm sure it's at a spreading center, or at least I'm not sure. I suspect. Those spreading centers run around the globe like the seams of a baseball.
They don't have the red cotton stitching.
No, no, I'm pretty sure in the order of operations, the spreading centers came before the baseball.
Right after you left for breakfast, we got a sonar target that stayed for a number of sweeps.
Okay.
And then slowly just kind of faded off. It was getting farther and farther away from the vehicle progressively. I'm going with whale. Because you'll get the occasional sonar target that was just like a fake, but this was something real that repeated.
Spooky.
If you're just joining us, you've made a horrible mistake.
By not joining us sooner.
Yeah.
There you go, Ed. Finished it for you.
Missed a lot of action, a lot of dredging action, a lot of glass bead
but
pouring
we're gonna
action.
Come up, recover, service the vehicles. My money says we're going back in right away.
Yeah.
And barring any weather holds.
I wasn't sure if you're going back into port or going back into the water.
No, we don't. These missions, we tend to stay out here no matter what.
Yep.
What's the transit time to Endeavour from here? Anyone know?
About 5 hours.
55 miles.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll be asleep.
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
We had everything perfectly dialed in when we went to breakfast, and I've been having to fiddle with this ever since.
You know why?
No
You know
idea.
exactly why. Someone couldn't leave it alone.
Hey, Ashley. What are we bringing up any samples?
Yep. We are bringing up. Let's see. We have 5. Tubes. Oh, yep, 2 larval tubes. So we deployed 2 larval tubes and picked up 2. Okay. And then we have 5 push cores, and we took 2 water samples at that same location with the 5 push cores.
Oh, okay.
So
you got some stuff to play around with when we.
Yeah. So the wet lab will be busy.
Nice, nice, nice. Should I get my labeling hand prepared again?
I don't know. Fabio might have done it, but there's probably plenty of work that needs to be done in the wet lab either way.
Do we have a view of Fabio in the wet lab? Is he down
take
there
a
right
peek.
now? Who's down there?
I just have a hard time because Dr. DeLeo shares a first name with my brother, but does not share pronunciation with him. So it's always a challenge to get it right.
Nope. Who's down there?
Ed, how does your brother say his name?
Fabio, not Fabio.
Oh.
He's okay with Fabio, but he normally goes by Fabio or Fab or Fabulous.
Fabulous.
I was going to say fabulous. Yeah.
I just got to see him recently too. Called out of my cave what I thought was the end of the pandemic, but apparently the groundhog saw his shadow and there was going to be 6 more months of isolation.
For our viewer at home asking on board, do we use local time or UTC? Well, I guess it depends on where we're at. In the control room, we're on UTC. We have our UTC clock. Right, I don't know if you can see it from our control room view here, but we have a UTC clock
just
up
add
here.
7 to your clock if you're on the west coast of the U.S.
Yeah. And on our screens here, we're UTC, but in regards to all of our other times, it's really dependent. But yes,
we stay on ship time, which is local to where we actually are in the world. Some vessels, I've been on some that as they transit, they stay on the time zone of where they left from, even as they go and change. So you'll get to a point where the sun's coming up at 10 in the morning. It's just a little ridiculous.
And it's weird.
But they frequently do that because there's a lot of collaborators on the east coast of the U.S. and Canada. And so we're trying to stay with their working hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, or reasonable enough. Then whenever you get to port and they put the old gangway down, they change to local time. I didn't hear that. What did you say?
What?
Hold on. Where'd you go? Did I turn you? Oh, they got. Oh, hello. Tammy is busted. She'd you at -30. Oh, it wasn't you that was there.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
Ooh, did we ever accidentally collect unwanted passengers on the way up from a mission? Well, if you were watching
can you answer that question for us, Maynard?
If you were watching a couple of days ago, we actually came up with a little octopus friend, a little cephalopod, decided to join us on deck here. We had a chance to do some nice selfies with her. Had a couple legs missing, as she was assuming she was probably protecting some eggs. She was encased in Titan, I believe, right? We found her in Titan?
Yeah, I think that's when they picked up Titan, then she decided to, I'm assuming it was a she, but she came along for a ride in the bio box and just sat there until she got to the surface.
And we found her on the side. If you want to see a picture of her, this is a plug for Nautilus. Make sure to follow Nautilus Twitter feed at EV Nautilus and on Instagram. We're sharing all the behind the scenes footage and pictures from everything we're discovering on the ship, and I do have a couple pictures with her on board, so yeah.
I saw somebody posted a video with her too.
Yes, yes, yes.
Before we released her back into the ocean.
Yes, of course. Safely back into the ocean. But yeah, you can see all that at our social feeds at EV Nautilus on Twitter and at Nautilus Live on Instagram, or check out a lot of the behind the scenes that I've been covering at Hip Hop Science Show.
I was just gonna say, yeah. What about your
we need the
Instagram?
endorsement ding on the soundboard as well.
Or some official voice, not a sponsor.
Right. Professional driver on the closed course.
Yeah, the vehicles have come up with lots of different things. Argus went through a bunch of anchovies one time, and they were all throughout. Like every single hole in the stainless steel frame had fish.
Anchovies, huh?
We've gone through krill, same thing.
Stinky.
Lantern fish.
Stinky.
Super stinky.
Couple, the Hercules gets fish and squids caught in him on a regular basis. That make the ride all the way to the surface. We had a basket star one time attached to the bottom of the vehicle. And the problem there was that nobody noticed, and we took it to the surface, and we put it on the sled, and we rolled it into the hangar. And then we transited for 5 days, and we couldn't figure out what smelled bad. We've also had fish that we couldn't find. Like, we knew they were probably in the vehicle someplace.
Somewhere.
And they smelled bad,
just rotting.
and we couldn't find them.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So many nooks and crannies in there. Yeah, it's easy for something to get stuck.
I've had jobs in certainly in Asia where you get sea snakes coming up on the vehicle. Obviously, they're not too happy about being brought on to a ship and a big hunk of noisy machinery. So you actually have to actively look for them before you get your hands in there.
Oh, yeah, you got to be careful about those sea snakes. Some of the most venomous creatures on the planet are sea snakes.
And then siphonophores and jellies can come up in the vehicles, which is unfortunate because those sting. Forget where we were. We had so many fish in front of Hercules that we were basically in the middle of a bait ball, and we couldn't see anything.
It was Catalina.
Was it Catalina?
Yeah.
Oh, Catalina Island.
But we had the seals or sea lions were there picking them off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a still somewhere of just like this bait ball just swooping. And it's just like you could, all the fish, there's nothing but fish in front of you, and they're doing that like kind of like swoop in front.
Yeah.
Catalina is
we'd turn off all the lights on the vehicle and try to attract them all up to Argus. And the lights up there, and then we'd go back to work, and then they'd come back down, and it was just
it was almost like they were using Herc as protection from the predators.
Yeah.
To be around something large.
It's a distraction. They're running from was it seals? Probably a lot of seals in that area, huh?
Yeah, I think there was. I don't recall what it was.
It was a seal.
Sure, we'll go with seal.
Sea lion.
Catalina is a pretty interesting area. There's a lot of marine life in that region there.
Yeah.
Isn't that the only place or area where there's that bright orange, what's that fish called? Bright orange fish.
Bright orange
Catalina?
fish?
Yeah.
Oh, you're thinking of Garibaldi?
Yeah.
Yes.
A Garibaldi?
Yeah, it lives in the kelp. It's a type of damselfish, and they are
bright orange.
Fluorescent orange. They're gorgeous.
See, Ashley doesn't know you well enough, so she took you seriously and was thinking about orange fish. I was trying to remember what orange thing we had left on the bottom.
Well, it took me a minute because I was like, we have rockfish everywhere, but those are kind of, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I've seen these. Yeah, I've seen these a lot.
Yeah, Garibaldi are pretty shallow, so.
Yeah,
you can see this from the surface.
Yep.
Also known as the Catalina goldfish.
But we've done dives in the Catalina area that our depth was, well, our delta was actually like -30. The Herc depth was 0.
Wait, Argus depth.
Argus depth was, no, we left Argus down.
Oh, I remember doing a dive where
we
Argus.
We did one where Argus was on deck.
We put Argus in the water to keep it cool, but you could have stood on the top of Argus throughout the dive. With a slight risk of electrocution.
It's all grounded to seawater at that point.
Yeah.
They probably haven't done this in a while.
For those just tuning in at home, we got about 770 meters left on our ascent back on deck. But always feel free to hop on over to nautiluslive.org. We're still taking in your questions as we make our remaining ascent. You could also check out our live feeds at Ocean Networks Canada website as well. We have links available at our homepage if you want to check out that with some interesting data as well too, of everything that we've been working on this dive and throughout our mission as well.
But collecting those bags was a pain.
Yeah, take it.
That's my daughter.
Yeah, let's all say hi.
All right. I'm turning off the Bluetooth, though.
It's there.
Hello, Sophia.
I think it's on blue still.
Hello.
That's funny.
And that does remind me, actually, now that you show your daughter, if we have any educators that are watching on board, any platforms, organizations that have students or teachers, anyone that wants to learn a little bit more about marine life and things that we're doing here on the mission, you can go onto the Nautilus Live website. If you go to our education tab, you can actually set up live interactions with anybody here on the team, myself included. Any of our fellows will also be available, but you can kind of get a first-hand glimpse at things going on here on the ship, ask questions, and be able to bring your students live via Zoom or Google Meet, and we'll give you breakdowns of everything that's happening on this mission and everything you want to know about the Nautilus as well. So make sure to head over to our website, to our education tab, and get a chance to do our live interactions with us. They're absolutely amazing. We got about 6 coming up this week. Actually, more than that. I think we got 10 coming up this week with various schools and institutions all across the globe. We've had students coming in from Brazil. We were talking to some students in New Hampshire last week. Greg gave a great breakdown about life as an ROV pilot, but anything that you want to know about our expedition, about the Nautilus, or about marine life in general, feel free to participate in our live interactions. Ooh, Ed, did you already talk to Oliver about our pond question?
No, but that was actually a Mike thing, but be interested to get Ollie's take on it.
Yeah.
So when we were visiting Michael in St. John's, Newfoundland, we went out to his cabin, which is on what would otherwise easily be called a lake.
Right.
But there they refer to them all as ponds. Have you ever seen this? Travels or...
We always thought that was like a UK. We always thought it was like a UK thing.
No,
as opposed to a lake.
St. John's is Canada, in Newfoundland and Labrador. Yeah, it's although who is it? Keeley, who did undergrad at St. John's, I think.
Right.
She was saying there are some lakes there, but this is something that's like, you know, it seemed like it was 10 kilometers long, but they calling it a pond.
Yeah, he always called it a pond, and I always just assumed it was a small pond.
So where do you draw the line? When does a pond become a lake?
When you can't skip a rock across it.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good
Seems
that's
fair.
a good, that's a good estimate. Yep.
So a question for Google.
Yeah,
as someone who's not
Is there a
great at
more
skipping rocks,
scientific answer?
I
Like,
don't know.
Yeah. Let's ask Uncle Google.
It's kind of like the boat ship question.
Because I always felt it was a UK, because I've always heard it in the UK, everybody referring to large bodies of water as a pond.
Huh.
Oh, there's actually a
I know there's just some, you know,
scientific response to it. Yeah.
Yeah. I know it's difficult for American to make the connection between what we would call our backyard and what somebody in the UK would say their garden.
That's just different terminology.
Yeah,
though,
different
isn't it?
terminology. As somebody who can barely plant anything, garden's quite a stretch.
That's right up there with boot.
Boot, trunk. Yeah.
You know what though? I actually did have a Mini Cooper at one point in time, and the owner's manual, even for the US one, referred to the boot and the bonnet and the windscreen. And
a proper Mini Cooper, an old one, yeah.
No, new one.
The new one?
Yeah.
Really?
And the bonnet release is actually over on the right-hand side. They don't move it for the left-hand drive car. It's actually over there.
Okay, I've got an answer for pond versus lake.
Yeah, there we go.
And there's a real one. Yeah, we're on the same website.
I think we're on the same one.
I saw that. I just couldn't
Pointless
bother to read
conjecture
all
will
of that.
always draw Ashley out of her shell.
Oh, let me tell you, there's a biological reason here.
Actually, you do the pond description. I'll do the lake one.
Oh,
Since we're
okay.
looking at the same side.
Oh, do you just want me to read this?
Is this like a size thing? You know?
Oh, it's always about size.
Ashley?
Actually, size doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter too much. It's more about depth. So in ponds, they're shallow, and so you could have plants growing along the entire bottom, and there's a photic zone throughout the entire. Yeah, I think a swamp might. Oh wait, I think it has to be enclosed fully for it to be a pond. I don't think a swamp has to be enclosed fully.
No.
Now I'm going to have to look that up too. So
that's a pond.
So pond has to have all areas of its depth in the photic zone so sunlight can reach the bottom.
It's a lake. Say that last part again.
So light could reach the bottom of a pond.
So it has to do with depth, basically.
Whereas a lake has areas that are deeper than sunlight could penetrate. So obviously that's also going to depend on how dirty the water is.
Yeah,
and how much turbidity there is.
This isn't a concrete enough answer for me.
So because
does this mean in pioneer days some guy had to walk into the middle of every body of water to decide what they were going to call it?
And Newfoundlanders.
Some biologists did, yes.
Newfoundlanders definitely call very large bodies of water ponds.
Yeah.
The big fjords on the side of Labrador and that are all mostly ponds, right? So
yeah,
it's a dialect selective.
Listen, I don't know what they call them. I'm just telling you what the definition is.
All right.
And not Newfoundland.
You're the messenger. We get it.
I'm looking stuff up.
Yeah, Western Brook Pond is this major fjord with steep sides and stuff like that, but they call it a pond.
Image was taken. Do I have metadata? I don't think that was my image.
It's probably, that was probably because there was a lot of, Irish and people like that coming over to the Newfoundland.
A lot of Irish.
From across the pond?
Across